Hello. I'm going to try to run through this as quick as I can of my thoughts and opinions on buying a 3D printer. Uh, there's two types of 3D printers here. There is your FDM, which is your filament style. These melt plastic, build objects layer by layer. They're best for toys, tools, parts, school projects, cosplay. I've done all of it. These are your most common. These are what we're going to discuss the most. Then there's your resin 3D printers. You might come across these. I do not recommend these for kids. These are very complex. The chemicals and whatnot are toxic. However, if you do get into 3D printing and you want to get like really detailed, really neat stuff, this is a way to go. But starting out, this is not a good starting option. There's two main printer motion types. There's your bed slinger, where the bed moves back and forth, and then your core XY, where the print head moves up and down. Not up and down, I'm sorry, the print head moves and the bed moves up and down. So this one here is a core XY, so the bed goes up and down, and the tool head goes side to side and front and back. This one is a bed slinger, so the bed moves back and forth, and the tool head moves up and down and side to side. There's two main different bed types, print surfaces. There's your PEI spring steel sheet textured, and then your smooth version. They're almost identical. This one, because it's textured, has a little bit stronger adhesion, very beginner friendly. Your smooth gives you a smooth bottom, can also give almost like that shine bottom, and they make a lot of really neat holographic styles out there. But for starting out, these are your two main ones. And this is a picture showing like this is textured, this is smooth. So whatever you're printing, whatever touches the bed on the bottom, that's your plate will kind of transfer to it. So it'll be textured or smooth. Now for build size, not necessarily machine, but the build plate itself, um, there's your small size, 150 to 180 millimeters. These are great for kids, mini toys, small spaces. Like you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna let the kid, kind of play with it. Then there's your medium. These are great for hobbyists, small business, printing, and most families. These are your kind of sweet spot. These are your do just about anything area. And then there's your large 300, 450 plus. I mean, these can go all the way up to, they literally have 3D printers that make houses now. Um, so yes, these can get pretty big. But for at home, your best bet would be small to medium. Now open and closed. Your open frame printers have exposed moving parts, no box around the printer, cheaper, easier to repair, great airflow. They can be louder. Drafts can ruin prints. Not ideal with pets around, especially cats, because cats can hop in there and get messed up with stuff. Your enclosed printers are fully boxed in, door and panels, safer for kids, quieter, stable temperatures, supports more advanced materials. That's because some materials require an enclosure and ventilation. They're more expensive, slightly smaller build volume for the price, less hands-on access, so they're a little trickier to work with. And what I mean by that is this is my printer and this is my son's printer. I don't have the top for mine yet. I'm working on it, but see how mine's like enclosed. So in order for me to get to the rods here, I have to kind of bend, twist, finagle my way in there to get them clean and lubricated. Where my son's, it's nice and wide open. But we have cats. Um, the cats sit in his quite often. I've caught them in mine before because I don't have the lid yet, but that's kind of the idea behind it of open and closed. The latest advancements in color. So this is one of the big things going on right now. There's multi-head tool changing. This is a printer. This is mine. Mine is a multi-head tool changer. Um, it has different independent print heads. So there's no crossover. Nozzles have zero material contamination. Diverse combinations, multi-materials and colors. Zero waste, no need to purge, but they can be complex to work with. Um, as far as I'm concerned, um, I'm also kind of not advanced in technology, but I've kept up with it decently. I'm a millennial, so I have a foot in both worlds. So for me, it's not complex, but it can be. Now, your multi-material AMS, um, these are single nozzle printers. All filaments must pass through the same hot end. Purge Towers requires these to clean out the old color. And there's also lots of poop. They call it poop. Those little balls of filament. Uh, Mostly limited to switching colors of the same material type, longer print times, and they do cost less upfront generally. Something I struggled with wrapping my head around when I first started was you do not need to print in multicolors at the same time. Many files print the parts on separate plates and can be assembled. I had to learn this the hard way because I wanted the multi-head all-in-one print from the beginning when I knew nothing about 3D printing. Um, I had no idea what AMS was or anything else. So AMS it's a system that you can put on a printer, a single. See how his has a single and mine shows like there's four different heads in there. It's a system that goes in here where it feeds multiple colors, and it switches out between them. Um, so you can do a multicolor print. Uh, However, you can also most of the time find that same file broken into parts. So example, say like a Pokemon, say Pikachu. Everybody knows Pikachu these days. Um, it'll print like a yellow body, and then on the next print that you make, you do black for the black parts in them, and then white for the white parts. And then most of the time you can just glue or snap it all together, and it works great. That's a really easy way and cost-effective way to do it with a single nozzle. So my opinion on priorities for beginners. Auto bed leveling is a lifesaver. You want reliable first layers. Community support is really good. Um, Most of the 3D printing world is full of great people. Most. There are bad apples, but anytime I've been learning, having questions and thoughts and whatnot, the community has just been phenomenal. Easy Slicer software, parts availability. That's an important one because I ran into with my sons. Parts need to be replaced and they quit making a lot of them. And I was like, well, darn. So important things is your PEI bed sheets, enclosure if needed, and then your Core XY versus bed slinger, which route you want to go. Things that are not important for beginners to worry about, in my opinion, is max speed claims. So you narrowed it down to two printers, and one goes, this one does 500, and this one only does 400. Well, honestly, you're not going to use that 500 a lot. Um, so don't let those max speed claims sway you. Fancy AI features. Yes, AI is the way of the world now. It's here, accept it, love it, work with it, use it as a tool. However, when it comes to 3D printing, you do not need all the bells and whistles to make good prints. And then exotic material support. And I'll cover in another video those type of materials and whatnot. But the main material you need to think about as like a parent is PLA, which pretty much all of these printers do PLA. Um, so things like your ABS, ASAs, and all of them, you really don't have to worry about those from the start. Software terms that you'll hear and learn about. There's CAD. This is where you create or edit your 3D objects. Tinkercad is beginner friendly. It's great for kids, drag and drop shapes. Actually, a lot of professionals use Tinkercad. I've used Tinkercad quite a bit, especially starting out. There's times where I'll have something and I'm stuck on it and I'll toss it in Tinkercad and figure it out pretty quick. There's Fusion 360. I honestly have not touched it yet. I want to, I just haven't yet. Blender is a very popular tool. I have Blender and it has a decent learning curve. I will leave it at that. You definitely need YouTube as your backup. Um, Onshape runs in the browser. great for collaboration, and SolidWorks is used in engineering companies a lot. Slicer is another term you're going to hear. This is the most important part for printing. So a general popular one that kind of covers everybody is Orca Slicer. This is what I use. Now you'll hear subcategories of that like Snap Orca or Flash Orca, and that's like a branch of Orca Slicer to specific printers. But there's just a plain standard Orca Slicer that covers everything. Um, then there's your Bamboo Studio. This is great if you own a Bamboo printer. It's very beginner friendly, very similar to Orca in many ways. There's your Persua, I can never pronounce it right. Slicer, it's reliable, supports a lot of printers. And then there's your Cura, your utility maker that's actually still used in schools quite a bit. Um, Now, firmware. Okay, so there's your software and then there's your firmware. Firmware is the runnings of the printer itself. So Marlin is an old school, it's a legendary. I mean, this is like one of the OGs of um, 3D printing. A lot of them now, I notice, use Clipper. Um, Clipper controls the printer. Uh, it's used in every printer I've been with has Clipper. And then I explained this, and then main sealed fluid or the dashboards for Clipper. Um, these you'll see within your Orca Slicer. And then there's your manufacturer ecosystem. So these are like your all-in-one apps. So again, Bamboo. I mentioned on the software page Bamboo because they're really popular printers. So there's Bamboo Handy, which is the mobile version, and then there's Studio, which is for the computer. And so this is your software and firmware. And Creately and Persura have the very similar things as well. Other terms you might hear with starting out with 3D printing and purchasing is cold plate and glacier plate. Uh, these are uh, really interesting plates. They grip filament strongly when the bed is cool or slightly warm. Uh, Releasing prints is pretty easy, and they work at a lower temperature. These I purchased a 2-pack, and I just had to let my first one go. She was used and abused, but overall, really really good plates. Um, PLA, PETG, ASA, ABS, etc. These are your types of filaments, your materials you can use when you print. Some do require special temperatures, enclosures, and bed plates. Keep in mind your PLA and PETG are your two, I guess you could say, beginner friendly, especially PLA. PLA is just everyday for families and kids. That's great. When you get into ASA and ABS, that's where you need to have an enclosure, special temperatures running, things like that. G code is the instruction language for 3D printers. So that is, I'm trying to think of how to word it. That's the language that the printer uses. Extruder, it grips the filament and pushes it into the hot end. Hot end is where the plastic is melted before printing. Nozzle is the tiny metal tip where the plastic comes out. The standard size that most printers come with is 0.4 millimeters. Many printers make 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, and 0.8. But 0.4 is standard. Honestly, I've been running off 0.4 for a year. I switched out to 0.6 at one point, and I was like, and I went back to 0.4. So it's pretty standard. Other terms you're going to hear, slicing. This is where your software converts your 3D model into the G code. Like I said, Orca Slicer is the software. Bed leveling, this is making sure the nozzle is the correct distance from the bed. Infill is the internal structure of a print. The higher the percent, the more solid. Layer height is how thick each layer is printed. 0.2 is standard. 0.12 is more fine. I have some settings I can go down to, I think, 0.8 or 0.08. And I also have some settings I can go like up to 0.3. But 0.2 is your pretty standard, average layer height. Supports. These are temporary structures that hold up overhangs, your floating areas of your print. It You have to think three-dimensionally as you're printing because you have to. The way the printer works is you're printing from the bed up, so you're moving up, 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 and up, and think of it like a mountain. You don't see mountains with just random chunks of mountain hanging in the air. Um, Generally speaking. So that's why we have to have supports because it can't just print this arm sticking out of a body in the middle of the air. It has to have something to hold it up. Stringing is when um, thin strands of plastic appear between parts. Almost looks like spider webs. This can be from nozzle too hot, filament too wet. Warping is when the corners lift off the bed during printing. A lot of times it's cooling too fast, poor adhesion, wrong material settings. Another key term you're going to see a lot is STL and 3MF. These are the file types used for printing. So like Microsoft Word is .dox, I believe, or PDF or JPEG. That's what these type of files are. STL is a basic 3D shape. That's all it is. It's just it. That's the model. It's the most common you're going to find. 3MF is a little newer and it stores the colors and settings. So it's a little more advanced. And then here is a few printers I pulled up, quite the range, I called it. Snapmaker U1 is the first tool head changer under $1,000. They are arguably the pioneers in commercial tool head changing as far as getting to um, getting into the home, basically. A printer people can actually afford. Bamboo Lab is highly regarded. However, it runs off its own ecosystem, closed software. So Bamboo, um, they're they're good. They run off their own ecosystem. FlashForge can be hit or miss. My son's was working great up until about month 9. I started having issues, and now I've been repairing it more than I've been using it. There are many other printers out there, some ranging from the mid hundreds all the way up into the 5,000s and beyond. Personally, I own a Snapmaker U1. I am spoiled with it. I also have the FlashForge Adventure 5M. Well, it's great. Starting printer, it has been difficult for long-term use. No lie. So this chart here I made may not be 100% accurate. I had AI compile it for me. But Bamboo Lab A1, I hear tons of. Great entry level. It is a bed slinger, open frame. Single nozzle, but it does support AMS uh, attachments. Again, the max print speeds, I really don't pay attention to these much. Your purge waste, it's a little high, but it's a much cheaper printer. Um, Creately is a great brand. FlashForge, like I said, this is the AD5X. So my son's was the ADM5. So this one actually supports multicolor. Um, but again, high purge. The Elegoo is really good. My Snapmaker U1, it says it's high-end machine tier. Uh, yeah, and it's the Core XY. I like the Core XYs, that's me. But this one's the four-head tool changer. Near zero waste. And right now it says $8.99. I want to say that's the going rate now. The FlashForge Creator 5 is the latest and greatest. They're just starting to ship them out. It's a new four-head tool changer. However, is literally just starting to ship out. Like I just started seeing today people getting their email notices that they're shipping. So I would be leery, not leery, but cautious. I would wait a couple months. I'd wait until probably September, maybe Christmas time, before looking into this, but the price is going to go up. I don't foresee it going over 1,000. And then this one is like ultimate, I believe. Oh no, this is the X2D. This one's still pretty high end. It's a nozzle, excuse me, extruder system. Um, it's low purging, where these are zero because they're multi-heads. This one's just two nozzles. So, and the price is pretty high up there. There's a couple Bamboo machines that are $3,000, $4,000, I believe, but they have a lot more features. So do not get hung up on a printer that is like all in one. It's got lasers, it's got um, like vinyl cutting like a Cricut. It does 3D printing. It does all buy a 3D printer. Do the all-in-ones. Some of them are really good. Snapmaker makes it a pretty good one. But for starting out, just in-home use with your kids and learning about 3D printing, it is perfectly okay to go with a Bamboo Lab A1. It, or the FlashForge Adventure 5M. They've come down a lot in price because they're kind of getting out of the system. Uh, but yeah, you do not have to spend $500-$600 on a printer. These are great for starting out. My only thing with the bed slingers is just be careful if you're trying to do tall things. Um, but really, that's it. I hope you guys find this helpful and talk to you later.